Hey everyone. So now that the dust has settled, shall we say? But let me check. Has it? Has it settled for you? Are you all right now? Have you kind of come back down to earth? Difficult one, isn't it? It may well be a week on, but the feelings are still there, aren't they? To be honest. But anyway, listen. Overall, the dust has kind of settled down. The season's over. It's time to be reflective of different things and to look forward maybe to next season and the transfer window and all that other kind of stuff that goes hand in hand with football, right? So inevitably, the big question on everybody's lips, and I've seen lots of articles about it and journalists asking Ange about it and so on and so forth. The big question is, Ange in or Ange out? So it's a difficult one, isn't it? Or is it? It depends really on your perspective. Now, let's just look at it. Let's just look at it overall. We have won the biggest trophy that was available to Tottenham Hotspur this season, the Europa League. It's a massive achievement. It's one that you can't take away. And people can talk about the different teams that were in it, and it was only this and it was only that and all the rest of it. If you've looked at the Champions League next season, you will notice that some of the teams that we've played in the Europa League are actually in the Champions League next season. And we have played in places where we were not expected to win. We wasn't expected to not concede at Bodo Glimt. We were not expected to win in Eintracht Frankfurt, for instance. And we wasn't expected to win against Manchester United because they've got this pedigree of always winning in finals and all the rest of it. So you can kind of go, well, yeah, it was this team, it was that team, and we did have the easier run in it and blah, 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 all that. But you can only beat who's put in front of you. And at the end of the day, no one's going to think about who you beat. They're only going to think about the fact that you won. So anyway, 17 long years without a trophy, 41 years without a European trophy. It has to be recognised what a fantastic achievement that is. On the other hand, when you're swinging it the other way, 38 points in the Premier League, 17th, one place above the drop zone. And, terrible losses. There's been some terrible results in that. 22 games, a record 22 game losing streak during the course of that season. And so you have to kind of look at it from that point of view. You can't just take the one and forget about the other. Although in time you will. So come the end of the season next season, provided we're better than we were this season, then ultimately no one's going to think about what happened that season that we won the Europa League. But that aside, you kind of have to weigh up where were you, where are you in that viewpoint, right? So, and I'm going to put my hands up right away and say, listen, at the beginning of the season, if you'd have said to me, Tottenham will win a trophy, but you'll just avoid relegation, would you take it? I'd have said yes. Absolutely, I'd have said yes. And in fact, I'd have even said yes had it been the Carabao Cup. That's how desperate I was to win a trophy. Now, I always thought that I was just more interested in winning a trophy than anything. Watching football under Conte and Mourinho told me that actually I wasn't content with just winning a trophy. What I wanted was good football and winning a trophy. I didn't get that either. I didn't get that either because we've lost so many games. But ultimately, the trophy has been delivered, and that's the key point. If you look at the performance in the Premier League, you have to recognise that there were some decent results in there. So we beat Everton 4-0, we beat Brentford 3-1, we beat Man United 3-0, we beat West Ham 4-1, we beat City, where is it on my list? 4-0. We beat Brentford 2-0. We beat City, Southampton 5-0. So there was some intermittent results in that lot, right? So we beat Man United 4 times in the season. We progressed to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, beating Liverpool in the first leg, 1-0. And that in itself is a little bit of success, because actually we haven't gone very far in the Carabao Cup for a while either. So to get to the semi-final, second leg, leading, was a fair result, to be fair. We got absolutely smashed by Liverpool, and rightly so. But yeah, so ultimately there was some bright moments within that Premier League scenario. Bearing in mind, even if you think about the Carabao Cup, we had to beat Coventry, which was hard work. But then we came up straight up against Man City, and we beat them. Then we have Man United, and we beat them. And then we got Liverpool, probably the toughest of games that you could think of for the Carabao Cup. But we got through it to the semi-finals. Okay, so let's think about what was Ange asked to do when he was brought in as the manager. So, aging squad, painful rebuild, improve the football style, bring in youngsters, win a trophy. Those were the things that were kind of put in there as his key performance indicators, shall we say, as a manager of people, and being a manager for over 30 odd years now, not football obviously. I know that there are certain targets that you are given that you need to achieve. Now, moving on of players been massive. We've moved on so many players out of that team. There's only, and I've said this previously, there's only a couple of players still hanging around from the past. Sonny being one, Ben Davies being the other. Even Reguilon hasn't had any real game time at all. Everybody else has kind of been moved on. So wage bill reduced, tick. Bringing new players, youngsters, lowering the wage bill, giving us a young squad as opposed to an older squad. So we brought in Archie Gray, we brought in Matisse Tell, we brought in Odebear, we brought in Lucas Bergval. Just to name a few off the top of my head. Brings in youth, lowers the overall age of the team. Did he do that? Yes, tick, he did do that. Was it all successful? Probably not, but did he do what he was asked to do? Yes, he did. Did he bring in some players from the academy? Yes, we have seen Mikey Moore play. Yes, we have seen Will Lancashire play. Yes, we have seen a couple of the other young lads, Dane Scarlett as well, all come in and have a contribution and actually pick up a medal for the fact that they scored goals against AZ Alkmaar, I believe was the team. Was it AZ Alkmaar or was it the one before? Anyway, doesn't matter. So did he do that? Yes, tick. Did he bring it? Did he win us a trophy? Yes, tick. So what didn't he do? He hasn't improved the playing style. He has in theory, because he is more attacking. He wants to play attacking football and so on and so forth. But has it been successful? Probably not. Looking at 17th in the league, you'd say definitely not. Does that mean that style won't work? Does it mean that we can't do that, provided we've got the right sort of players, the right quality of player, the right level of injury expectation, and so on? I would argue that if you've got a philosophy of playing football and you've got the best players available that are able to play that style of football, round pegs in round holes, with lots and lots of quality, then potentially there is the opportunity for that to work. Do I think Ange needs to be a little bit more pragmatic? Probably. Does he need to think about it a little bit? Definitely. Does he need to think about the opposition and apply some thought around how he plays against them? Yeah, absolutely. So do I think he can do that? I actually think, yes, he can do that. I don't think he's as stubborn as everybody wants to make him out to be. I think the key this season was whatever happens, he wanted to win a trophy, because that is the thing that then buys you that time, because you're in the middle of a really, really difficult rebuild. So you rebuild this team, and you're bringing in the lots of youngsters and this, that and the other, but actually the key goal is to settle everybody's nerves and then let them believe that there is opportunity in the future. You deliver that trophy. And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I think for me, a lot really, really depends on what Daniel Levy and the board do in the summer in terms of recruitment. Are they going to go in and give the man the tools for the job? Yeah, I'm okay with youth. I'm okay with young players, but they've got to be at the right quality. Players that are going to come in and strengthen the squad overall, because you cannot rely on a player like Archie Gray to play the amount of games he played and not get tired out or overutilised. The same for Lucas Bergvall, the same for Oda Bear, Matisse Tell. They need to be brought into the squad and into the team when there's a strong team there, not just all chucked in together when you want to rest everybody else. And so you put in all these players all at once who kind of have a go, but are not really set up to be a proper team. You can use those as here, there, 1, 2 at a time, maybe substitute a period, not full 90 minutes of the whole lot of them all in one go, because that's just not working. You cannot dismiss the issues with injuries, and I still don't believe that the injuries are down to Ange Postecoglou, as much as some people would want to make you think that. I personally don't believe that. That's my opinion. So for me, overall, I'm saying let's keep Ange in. Now, I know there are people out there that will go, Lee, you're deluded. You're an idiot, man. You know, the guy ain't no good. We need to get him out. And that's fine. You're entitled to that opinion, right? I've got no problem with that whatsoever. And at the end of next season, you may be proved right. In fact, during the course of the middle of next season, you may well be right. But for me, my view is let's see how we get on leading up to Christmas. Let's see what, a lot depends on what Daniel Levy and co do. That's going to tell us whether Ange Postecoglou is going to get any kind of chance to really build on the momentum that he started in terms of winning this trophy. Personally, I want us to go, I'd love to win the FA Cup. I'd love to win the FA Cup again. I know lots of people go, it's only the FA Cup. But that just shows you the emotion around this football club when we won the Europa League, how that's made everyone feel, how that brought people together, the emotion, 200,000+ people turning up to see people lift the trophy and ride on a bus. It's unbelievable what this can do for this football club. So now it's about building on that. The season's gone. We've got our trophy. Where do we go from here? For me, let's get us back to the middle of, let's get us back to European spots, whether that be Europa League again next season. And let's get us another trophy, a Carabao Cup. I'll take it. An FA Cup, definitely want it. And let's see where we go from there. There's no way we're going to win the Champions League. There's no way we're going to win the Premier League. But there is still the chance to keep that momentum going, provided Ange gets the support he requires from the board, from the fans, and so on. It's clear to me that the players are 100% behind him, 100% behind him. You could tell by the way they react to him. Now, they know what kind of motivator he is, what kind of man he is. And for me, I think that speaks volume. Had the manager lost the dressing room, if you look at Manchester United, I think Amorim's totally lost the dressing room in there. You can see a big change needed. You know, they're in a terrible, terrible state in terms of their attitude and their spend and all the rest of it. We are in this good position now where we can start to build. So it's over to Daniel Levy. So for me, Ange in all day long, and we'll see what happens. And I'll call him out when he doesn't do well. I'll call it out when the process is wrong, and so on and so forth. I'll give you my word on that. But I want him to get the chance. I want Daniel Levy to do the right thing. Now, that's my view. I have asked some other people in my group of people that I go to football with and I talk to about football quite often, what was their opinion. So after me, you've got their opinion. Let me know what you think at the end of the video. It'll be good to know whether you agree with them, agree with me, or have a totally different view. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Up the Spurs.
Hi Lee, here's Bob here. Question posed, Ange in or Ange out? I've been thinking about it since we had that glorious victory in Bilbao, and to be totally honest, I'm going to go Ange out. The reason is, going to the majority of games this year, the league performance has just not been great. We've lost 22 games, the record amount of losses for a team that hasn't gone down. We finished 17th. Yes, we won a trophy, but our bread and butter is the league. And we are lucky that the 3 teams that were relegated were so poor, because if not, we probably would have been relegated this season. So why have I gone Ange out? Couple of reasons. First thing, look at Ten Hag last year at Man United. Won the FA Cup for a 90-minute performance, kept his job. Man United were poor in the league. You can say that since he left, they've got even worse, but the rot had already set in. We also won the Europa Cup, which, let's be totally honest, no Champions Leagues did drop into it. And we played in the final against a very poor Man United team that, if it was anyone else, the performance that we did wasn't good enough. We look at the other side of it, and he has won us our first trophy in 17 years, and I'll be grateful for that. It's something that I said in an earlier video, that I will look at that in 20 years down the line, remember the emotions I felt, this time I spent with my son, who's now an adult, that's not seen us win a trophy or can remember seeing us. And it is difficult to say that a manager wins us a cup and we want him, or I want him gone. I think he's got the players, but I don't think he's tactically aware. I love Ange as a person. I think he's great when he talks to the media, when he talks to the fans. And part of the reason why I think a lot of the fans are sticking with him is because of the way he is, rather than the manager he is. Now, I will probably be against the majority of people by saying Ange out. And I've been saying it probably for the last 3 or 4 months. And if the people that were to be realistic, if we hadn't won the cup, would majority of people saying Ange in actually be saying Ange out? So for me, it's Ange out. Now, it's up to the chairman, Mr. Levy, what he decides to do. And I hope 2 things either happen. We have to either get rid of him and get someone new in. And who will we get in? I don't know. That's going to be the big question if I get Ange out, is who comes in. I like the manager, Thomas Frank, and I think he would do a fantastic job with what he's done at Brentford, with the money that we would buy, the players that we have. I think he would do a really good job. Inexperience, but I think he would do a very good job for us. If Levy decides to keep Ange in, then let's back him, and back him financially so that he can get the players he wants, some more senior players rather than just keep buying the youth, and see where we go. Regardless of whether Ange is in or Ange is out, I'm a Spurs fan. I will always be a Spurs fan. I will always support my club through thick and thin. So come on, you Spurs.
Hello, Lee, the Dorset Spur. So you've asked us to put a video up. So yeah, here's my video. So I was at the game on Sunday. I was lucky enough to travel down with the South Dorset Spurs and travel down with you. It was a fantastic day, amazing day. It was so nice to, I mean, there's quite a few familiar faces that post videos on here I've never met. I've never met you in person. We've spoke a lot. It feels like I've known you for a long time, and yet we've never actually met. And it was so nice to meet you, meet up with the Essex boys as well. Big shout to them. Obviously been on a podcast with you with them. It was amazing. Yeah, it was just felt like a party atmosphere. It was just amazing. And taking over the Gilpin. We had our own little area, literally pretty much half the beer garden, and the sun was out, the beer was there, everyone was in good spirits. And a lot of people were saying, I don't care what the result is, we can. And some people were even saying, I hope we get stuffed. The result really didn't matter. And then I obviously went over to LT's. Great atmosphere in there. Great, always. You know, if you've never been over there, please do check it out, because it was great. But it was rammed. You could not move in there. I think I did 2 videos. I think the first video, I think we got in there early, and it looked, yeah, you could see some spaces. But I think by the second video, you couldn't move in there. You couldn't move in there. So I decided to chip on, like yourself, Lee, and come and meet you and Chris Cowlin to go and watch James Black. And to be honest, I'm the same as you. A lot of times I go, I tend to stay in the pubs around the stadium. I don't tend to go in the stadium that early. And I thought, you know what, I've never done it. So I went in there, and I'm always gutted that I see the videos of James Black, and obviously I saw him perform at the ceremony on Friday, and I was absolutely gutted I wasn't there. I was just like, wow, amazing. So when I had the opportunity to go to that, and lucky enough I caught up with you and Chris Cowlin, and wow, amazing. And just the people, like instant friends, like so many friends I made there. I mean, I'm looking back at some of the videos, and me and this guy, it's like we've known each other all our lives, and we literally just met. Like everyone was so happy, so buzzing, and it's just a lovely feeling to have that unity again, to feel that the club's got a bit of identity, you know. And then to go into the stadium with the flags and see all that, you know. I was sat in the north stand, so I was right by all the Brighton fans, so they were giving us some right old stick, and rightly so. They won, okay, fair enough, but I just kept holding up that, saying, what you won, mate, what you won. But it's all banter, and that's what we go to football for, you know, to give each other grief. But it was a long old day, obviously travelling down from Dorset back up home. I didn't get home till like 11, I don't think it was. I got up at 6 a.m, so that's a long old day. But would I change it? No way. I mean, that was a memory that will stick me forever. And look, I think I brought 4 of these back with me that people just left on their seats. So my son is majorly chuffed because he's got 2 to stick on his wall in his bedroom. I'll give my opinion about Ange Postecoglou. I personally, I don't think chopping and changing the manager right now will make a massive. It will make a difference, but in the long term, will it? I mean, we've got Super Cup to go to. Who would I rather in charge? Someone who's won as a cup, or someone who's newbie who's just come in? I mean, everyone talks about Thomas Frank, talk about these other managers. Yeah, they're great. Same as Pochettino, did a great job at Southampton, but he come to us. He got us playing the best football I've ever seen, but we've got nothing to show for it. So I'm Ange in. You know, I've had a long thought about it, but I am. I think we just have to be. I just have to give him some more time, and hopefully he gets backed by the club, and we'll go for there. But anyway, yeah, it's gonna be weird not having any football on, but maybe it's less stressful that way. But looking forward to the Super Cup in August. I don't know why it's kind of frowned upon as not a big trophy, but it kind of really is when you think about it. The teams that are going to be playing, they're both winners, I think there should be more made about that. But anyway, much love to everyone I saw in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, everyone I saw before the game. I was chatting to these guys that had travelled down from Belgium. They travel down from Belgium to watch Spurs all the time. Loyal fans. I will dig the video out and post it sometime. But they were just genuinely nice people, and I shook all of their hands and said, "Wow, you know, you travel all this far." Some people moan about watching it, and they live around the corner. So these guys are really committed to Tottenham Hotspur, and I love to see that everyone loves the club that I love. Anyway, I'm waffling on a bit. I'm still recovering because I think I've been celebrating since Wednesday, since the win. So I just about got my voice back from the weekend. There was a lot of singing, and like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world. Anyway, let's stay positive, and I'm still smiling because we've won something. Do you know what I mean? At last, for a long time. Anyway, I look forward to listening to the other videos and everyone else's opinions. Like I say, this is my opinion. You know, you don't have to agree with me. You know, I'm fine with that. But we're all entitled to one. We're all Spurs fans at the end of the day, and we all want the best for our club. So anyway, on that note, I will speak to you soon. Up the Spurs.
Ali, my opinion on the Ange out debate. I think firstly on that, we don't have all the facts. We don't know what Ange's plan is to improve the areas that we were poor in this season. Only Daniel Levy is going to have that conversation with Ange. So he will have the insight into what the plan is to improve. I do think if we had that insight, then we'd be able to make a better informed comment. But we don't. So let's, based on the information we have, why am I Ange in? Firstly, I don't believe that a single person is responsible for the failure or success of a club. I haven't thought that for any Premier League team for that matter. What does seem to dictate how poorly or well a club does is their wage structure. To give you an idea, of the top 5 wage-paying teams in the Premier League this season, 4 of them made the Champions League. That tends to happen. In fact, if you look at relegation, 2 of the 3 teams who got relegated were the 2 lowest paying wages. So that's what dictates who wins and who loses and what the success is. Arsenal were the 2nd highest paying wages in the league. They finished 2nd. Tottenham were the 7th highest paying team in the league. So that's our natural position. We should be 7th. So it doesn't look like we're going to pay higher wages under Daniel Levy. So the only way to succeed is to bring young players in and hopefully they overachieve, or to bring in players that maybe we get in a bit of a bargain that we can motivate through someone like Big Ange, who talks about success when everyone has seen that you're not going to be successful. That's the only way we're going to win. Looking at Europa League, the top 2 highest paying teams in the Europa League were Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur. So it wasn't a surprise that we were the 2 teams in the final. In fact, we were quite lucky. We didn't play the teams that were 3rd highest to 7th highest. We managed to avoid all of them. Fortunate luck of the draw, but I'll take it. The 8th highest paying team was Frankfurt. So the wage structure is what dictates your success or not your success. But in saying that, we underperformed. We should have finished 7th and we didn't. We had a very poor season. So I looked at all the reasons, all the things that Ange has control over and things he doesn't have control over, and how successful was his season. So to do that, I came up with a list of 8 things that a coach is responsible for. 2 of those things I think he has no control over. That's managing player transfers, contracts, and negotiations, overseeing the club's financial decisions, budgets, and overall business direction. That's not going to change under Daniel Levy. Any manager that comes in is going to have the same problem, no control over that. So I don't think he has any say in that. The next few are scouting and developing young talents for the club's future. I don't think he has much say in scouting, but I think he played a big part in the youth coming through the season, even if his hands were forced. We've got some exciting talent coming through, and Big Ange played a part in that. Motivating players and managing team morale. What team wouldn't have turned on the coach with as many losses as we've had this season? But we've seen no sign of any team revolt this season. So he clearly still has the team on his side. Handling media duties, including pre- and post-match interviews. I think he's been exceptional at that role this season. He's called out the press. He's called out press using clickbait against Tottenham. He's been very strong and assertive against the press, but very positive of Tottenham and very appreciative of what Tottenham fans want to see and what the changes they want to see. I think he's been exceptional in that role. As far as selecting the team and formation for every match goes, I haven't seen any lineups that have surprised me. I've either known why he hasn't gone with a certain player because he's holding them for a more important game, or his hand has been forced. I think it was one game where he tried something tactical that didn't work and he admitted it, but I haven't been surprised by any team lineup. I would have picked the same team if I was the coach. Where has he been poor? He's not a Pep Guardiola or a Mourinho or a Conte where he's on the sidelines instructing the team as the team goes. And I think that's probably what frustrates people watching him on the sidelines, that he's not seemingly interacting with the player. He also needs to take some responsibilities for the number of injuries we've had. Is it related to his style of play? But I do think that we need to give him the opportunity to correct his mistakes. And I'm going to go back to his Yokohama days to show that he has done improvements like that in the past. In his first season, he avoided relegation on goal difference. But ironically, and this is linked to Tottenham, they were the 2nd highest goal scorers in the league, avoiding relegation. The next window, he recruited his defence to improve his defence, and he improved in his goal scoring. Got 12 more goals, fixed his leaky defence, and won the title in the next season. So he seems to be a coach that understands where the problems are and what he needs to fix. And that may include bringing in some technical people into his staff, bringing some better coaching into his staff, bringing in better medical staff to prepare his team coaching to be able to handle the strain of his style of play. So I really feel that based on all evidence showing that he can identify where the weaknesses are and he fixes those in the window, we need to allow someone who's given taste for success the opportunity to continue along that path. If he doesn't succeed, if a third of the way through next season he looks all out of ideas and he doesn't look like he's made any improvements, fair enough. Let's make the change. But there's no reason to make the change now when we're on the journey of success and it's started already. I've seen mercenaries get control of this club. I don't want to see that. Big Ange is a good guy. He speaks his mind. He's old school. He motivates players. He seems to bring out some passion in players that probably would have preferred to play with a Real Madrid and a Liverpool. Let's face it, they probably would have preferred that role if they got it. But they're playing with Tottenham, and he's managed to get the best out of them. And it's going to be Ange that gets a club that pays the 7th highest wages to succeed. So for me, I'm Ange in, give him a chance. And I'm going to leave you with one final thought. We're supporters of this club. We should stop being so hypercritical of everyone in our club and our team players. We should support the team. That's what our job is. We're the 12th man. And what I implore everyone is next season to just try and support the team more than you criticize players. That'll make the whole experience positive for everyone, and we can enjoy the glory days together. Anyway, come on you Spurs. I'm Ange in.
Lee Dorset Spurs, how are you? Gary here. Just going to give my opinions on Ange. Well, I've been Anging since the start, since he arrived. All the way through, I was Anging, and I said, as long as we stay in Europa League, you can't sack him. Can't do another Mourinho second week before final. Couldn't have sacked him in January. You know, a lot of people wanted him out. So, for me, I said, keep him as long as we're in there. Now we've won it, I think start the season with him. You know, yeah, 22 league defeats, and people are saying, oh, you know, we could have got relegated if the 3 teams below us weren't as bad as they were. We would have got relegated, and, you know, ifs and buts, and, you know, if so had this and that, it doesn't really mean anything. It's irrelevant. I think if we needed more points in the league, we'd have got them. We didn't need any more. You know, 17's fine. 17 years since we won a trophy, so finishing 17th is quite fitting, really. I do generally think if, you know, the teams below us, if they had more points, we would have just got a few more draws, a couple of more wins. I think it was a blessing we went out of the FA Cup early. You know, we got to a semi-final of the Carabao Cup, which isn't bad going. And we got to the final of the Europa League and won it. And it's not like the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. We've just won the Europa League, a European trophy. We haven't won it since 1984. We won it once in 72, 84, and now in 2025. Like, it's massive. It's huge. So whether or not Spurs fans or other fans or supporters want to admit it or not, he's our most successful manager in over 40 years. So why wouldn't you start with him next season? You'd be stupid not to. Yes, he's going to need backing. I'd give him, you know, start the season, give him till Christmas, see where we are. Like he said, you know, 3rd season always does better than the 2nd season. Who knows? You know, we could. I mean, listen, I'd take 17th again and win the Champions League. You know, would I take 17th and win the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup? Probably. You know, I want trophies at the end of the day. I think a lot of people, like, it was a terrible season in the league. Of course it was. But would it have made much difference if we finished 12th or 15th or 9th? Like, does it actually really matter when you've just won a European trophy? You know, I don't think we're going to be as bad next season in the league. I think we'll be a lot higher up. You know, we've just made ourselves over £100 million, so League will be happy. That will, you know, bring better players to the club. So I just think, what's the point of getting rid of him? You know, we had a good manager in Nuno. Look how well he done, and we got rid of him. You know, Poch apparently was our best manager, and we won nothing with him. And he played an unfit Kane in the final, and Jock Moore has scored a hat-trick. So all this Ange out business, I mean, I've got to say this as well. It's a week since we won that European trophy, and all I'm seeing online is Spurs fans moaning. Even the amount of Spurs fans moaning, like, I get it, we lost to Brighton. Right, okay, we lost at home to Brighton. Does it actually matter, though, when we've lost 21 league games anyway? So what if we lose one more? What does it matter? Like, if we had beaten Brighton 2-1 or 1-0 or whatever, would that all of a sudden made the season that much better? The season's already a great season. It's one of our best seasons in history. So I don't understand and get this. Like, I've been Anging since day one. I'm still Anging. People are entitled to say Ange out. Also, people are entitled to change their mind. I've seen some Spurs fans that were Ange out because they were saying, you know, this manager can't win us the Europa League. It's impossible. We're useless in the Premier League. him, the players, and a lot of the fans gave up in the Premier League months and months ago, i.e. why we finished 17th. We knew we were safe, and to say, oh, any other season we would have been relegated is like Arteta saying, well, any other season would have won the league. It doesn't make any sense. You know, we had enough points so we didn't get relegated, and Arsenal didn't have enough points to win the league. So the only thing that really matters is we are European champions. So everything else, I don't think matters, and I don't really care. So for me, start the season with Ange, give him to at least Christmas, see where we are. You know, if we're doing well in the league, stick with him. You know, wouldn't it be amazing though if we got to another final or something and we actually won it? But even if we got to another final and won it, if we didn't do great in the league, let's say we did another season where we finished 14th, 15th, or 10th, or whatever, you're going to have Spurs fans that are not happy, that are going to moan, that are going to want more. There's nothing wrong with wanting more. You know, I would love to have finished 4th, 3rd, 6th or 7th and won the Europa League, but this is Tottenham, this is Spursy. We're not Liverpool, we're not City. You know, we don't pay the wages and we don't get the players that like what they do. So I think everyone just needs to take a deep breath, sit back and just be happy and grateful that we've finally got the monkey off our back and won a trophy and we can wind them up down the road, because I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I haven't stopped singing, Johnson again, ole ole, Johnson again, Johnson again, Johnson again, ole ole.
Hey Lee, the Dorset Spur. Sonia here, part of East Kent Spurs, known as Real Spurs Babe. Good to see you at the weekend briefly. Now the dust has settled. Emotions have cooled just a little bit, right? I've had time to really reflect. Yes, this season hurt. 17th place, 22 losses. That's quite hard to stomach. Statistically, actually one of our worst seasons ever, but here's the thing, Ange did deliver. After 41 years, it's no small thing, and let's be honest, if someone said at the start of the season we'd win a European Cup, most of us would have bitten their hands off, right? It's like anything in life, even with my own business, when you're focused on delivering that one thing, that one major thing, other parts take a hit, you sacrifice. I get that, I can relate to that. So for me, I am still Ange in. He's shown he can bring silverware. He's got a clear vision and he's honest. I really believe he deserves a proper go at season 3. He even said himself, season 3 is always better. So let's see what happens when he has time to reflect, reset and rebuild, hopefully with some investment. Come on, Mr. Levy, give us a helping hand. If we're going to build something long term here, we have to ride through. So for me, it's about faith, not just fall. Let's just back him for now, right? And judge properly a few games into the season. See where we go from there. Come on, you Spurs, or as you say, up the Spurs.
So there you have it. There you go. A few other opinions there. Some different to me, some with me. Listen, it's up to you to decide what you think. And I'm not asking you to agree with my opinion. They're not asking you to agree with theirs. It's their opinion. That's what football's all about, right? That's why we love it so much, because we get to talk about it forever and a day. So listen, thanks for watching the video. Really appreciate it. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up, because that does help. Leave us something in the comment section. Let us know whether you agree, whether you disagree, who's the most deluded, who's the talking the most sense. It'd be interesting to see your perspectives on that. And of course, if you don't subscribe to the channel, do consider that. It don't cost you anything, so why not? Why wouldn't you? Thanks for watching, and as always, up the Spurs.